안녕하세요.
Welcome back to LCK 2020 Spring Split Analyst Desk, joined by Wadid and Lira.
김태윤이라고 합니다. 그리고 제 옆엔 리라, 남태유님 나와 계십니다.
안녕하세요, 리라 남태유입니다.
네, 많은 분들이 기대하시고 기대하시던 비방송인
English
두 명의
viewers.
분석 데스크.
So once again, we'll be having another analyst desk without Nina Kim. So first, let's discuss the draft. Gen.G always wants to go with a strong mid and jungle comp. So they had a very balanced comp overall. In Afreeca, they always want to have a really strong pick for the bot side, so they can take down the bot lane first tier turret in the early phase. So Caitlyn and Senna, they were able to put a lot of pressure up against Ezreal and Yumi.
10월 29일 롤드컵 4강
So
이후에 원딜
2017
룰러와 미스틱 선수의
Worlds,
오랜만에
after that
맞대결이었는데
Worlds,
진짜
Mystic versus
바텀에서
Ruler matchup has
탑
come
치열한
back.
싸움이 계속해서
So we
이어졌습니다.
had a
그래서
very
초반에,
competitive
좀
bot
많이
lane
치열한
game
싸움이
in the
일어났어요.
early phase. So this red buff invade was where everything happened.
상대적으로 앨리스, 케이틀린, 세나에 비해 약하다고 생각을 하였고
Well,
여기서 만약에 하나
Gen.G's
실수만
comp is
걸리더라도
much weaker compared to the Afreeca's comp at this point of the game.
선수들이 피지컬이 좋아요. 스킬을 다 안 맞고 다
So I mean, pro players, they were so good at dodging all the skills. So they were trading really hard, but none of the players actually fell.
어떻게 보면 전멸을 사용하지 않은
But
아프리카 쪽에서
Afreeca, a lot of players actually hold it onto their flash. They did not use it, but Gen.G's the bot laners, they had to use their flash. So the byproduct of this, well, Ellis was able to gank bot at 4-minute mark. So even though Clid came for the counter gank and cover, well, Ruler had to fall and bite the dust. Clid is the one who really wants to go into the opponent jungle, counter jungle, but at the same time, Dread also really enjoys and prefers to counter jungle as well. So we had a lot of actions happening in the early phase in the jungle. So this game was the game that we were able to see why Dread was the starting jungler for Afreeca. And here we saw a very different positioning for this Baron fight. At this point, actually, Gen.G was in a big lead. Gen.G even picked up an Elder, and they were in a very stable position. However, watch Keen over there. He was having his eyes on Azir for the entire fight. So he read all the way around and even flashes instead of using the blast code to get over the wall. So he went all in for BDD's Azir, so Afreeca players were able to pick up a kill, a very critical one. So Gen.G players, the rest of the players actually should have just back to their base, but they were all collapsed on by Afreeca players, so they kind of fell off the cliff at that moment. So Caitlyn is actually really weak in the mid game. However, he collected so many kills in that fight, so he was able to get his power spike earlier than expected. Then let's check out the player of the game from Afreeca Freecs. So Keen, with that significant kill onto Azir at that Baron fight, picked up a player of the game point, 400 POC points so far. So Seth was the one who had to do so many works to open team fights, but he just perfectly executed all those kind of engagement on his own. So for a champion like Seth that doesn't have a dash, it's actually much more effective to go in the backline to have a really clutch flank angle, and which is not really easy. However, Keen managed to pull it off very effectively. So Keen won 5 votes out of 9. But besides Keen, Mystic was the one picking up the POG votes for game number 1. Even though Gen.G had a very good scaling champions, he managed to shut them down. So Afreeca got game number 1. So this was the game that we saw why Keen is the king of LCK top lane. So he played really well, but in the mid game, Afreeca players were not doing a great job up against the long range champions, but they managed to turn the game around in the late game. So we want to talk about Ruler over here because he was not showing much impact compared to Mystic. However, this is not the end of today's series, so let's check out whether Ruler can make a comeback in game number 2.
Thank you so much, Jason, for the translation of the analyst desk, and welcome back, guys, to LCK Spring 2020, where Afreeca are leading Gen.G 1-0. Their bounce back from their recent loss to KT looks to have started, but this is a best-of-3 series, and Gen.G have shown to be stalwart in their ability to not tilt after losses. Because, of course, you know, they fell down one game to Dragon X. They fell down one game to KT as well earlier in the season. And this is not over yet by any stretch of the imagination. And I think maybe, as we move into this game, they might identify that picking Lee Sin as first pick on blue side was a bad idea.
Yeah, we were discussing this a little bit. Maybe they wanted to deny it away from Dread, or maybe, you know...
I mean, Dread's always going to pick Elise, let's be real. Like, that's... Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, he likes his Elise, and he likes his Lee Sin. So maybe they wanted to force him onto Elise and say, we will have an answer to this. They did not. By the end of it all, was really the answer that we received. But you're exactly right. I think Gen.G can absolutely kind of stabilize themselves and come back in the series. But Afreeca really playing that one out pretty well. Just understanding their win conditions and waiting for the late game and fighting when it really mattered. I feel like Keen really carried a lot of those fights. Things could have looked incredibly different if there wasn't a set in your backline for every single fight that happened. So
his flanks, his teleport flanks were just amazing from Keen. Really did manage to shore up the difference and really did make it a stark contrast between what Renekton can do in the late game and what a set can do. We've actually seen Renektons outperform late game team fights recently. We've had some performances where the Renekton's been able to get in, stun up 80 carries and things like that and really get things done, but did not work out this time around for Rascal, and we'll see what kind of priority he's going to put on the top lane as we get into the draft for game number 2.
Afreeca on blue this side, Gen.G on the red side. So there was a bunch of target banning by Afreeca on red. Gen.G spamming the Aphelios button there on the ban.
Yep.
But I feel like Gen.G might just go with pretty normal bans. Aphelios, Ornn, X. See what goes from there. As Set and Soraka, relatively normal. We see Soraka first banned, or not first banned, but banned on blue side a lot of the time, even though I think LS wouldn't agree with that one. And we did actually see T1 pick up the Soraka as a first pick after it was left available, and it worked out pretty well for them. But we'll have to wait and see if any other team wants to follow that rule, as Pantheon is going to be the choice here. They don't want All In to play that pick. They'd much rather see him on Syndra again.
Well, the Zoe is going to be locked in, and remember, All In used to be Sun, who got a pentakill on the Zoe. He was a Zoe one-trick in solo queue before joining Afreeca Freecs. So looking forward to seeing what he can do with this Zoe priority pick for Afreeca. A much better blue side first pick, in my opinion, than what we saw last time as Gen.G Senatam Kench, probably going to be the farming toad on the bottom side of the map. Like we saw from Sandbox, actually won out in that series as well. So see what Gen.G can do here with a very stable bottom lane now being picked up. As Dread going to go towards the Olaf this time. No Yuumi available to pair with it, so I don't like the pick quite as much as it would have been for Gen.G in the previous game. And in fact, honestly, any jungler would have been better than Lee Sin, in my opinion. I was just a bit upset about that first pick, to be honest. But
A
this
lot
is
more
another,
Taric.
Yeah, this is another option alongside the Olaf as well, is the Taric, because you can make the Olaf immune to damage and then can just walk freely into the backline with Ragnarok running. See how they can actually make this one work, as Afreeca, with the first round of the draft, looking really clean.
Yeah, they have their AD carry and the top lane left available. So Gen.G going to look to snipe out the Zoe this time around. BDD can certainly play his own LeBlanc. We'll have to wait and see if he can continue the LeBlanc win streak. It's currently 7-0 after Faker got to play it twice yesterday and just really put on a magnificent show on how to play that champion. So BDD gonna try to live up to that. He hasn't played the LeBlanc yet this season, so will be his first performance for 2020.
And we saw that Faker was playing the LeBlanc into the Zoe. It's actually a relatively difficult matchup for LeBlanc in the laning phase. So we'll see how All In and BDD are going to navigate it, just because of how distortion works. You're going to be dashing forward. Bubble can be a relatively easy response, and even if you do manage to pop back, it's likely that the Paddle Star is just going to hurt even more. Yeah. So let's just see what can happen. The Lee Sin going to be banned this time. Don't necessarily feel like it needs to be, but they are still going to respect Clid's Lee Sin, as the Caitlyn and the Kalista both being taken off the board. I like it. Kalista Taric has certainly been good, and Gen.G understand that respecting that one is a decent option. They, of course, pilot that one relatively well themselves. But
finally, Jarvan is showing his face here. We were talking about how there should be a lot of priority on this pick. Clid still undefeated on the Jarvan, 5-0. 5 games he has won with this champion and is quite the Jarvan player. So it's finally going to be picked up here, as they'll add a nice amount of engage into their composition and make some space for Ruler that he perhaps did not have in game number 1 with the Renekton.
Akali being considered here for Keen on the top side of the map. A blind Akali pick is a very strange option here for Keen, but of course, this guy is probably one of our best top lane Akali players alongside Rascal, actually. So not only is it a pick away from Rascal, it's another one that Keen certainly has put the time into. And yes, she's had her kneecaps removed. Yes, this is 10.3, so it's a very different Akali that's not going to be doing as much work, with the fact that the ultimate is now only targeted. And Mystic going to go towards his Misfortune alongside the Taric towards the bottom side.
Yeah, the Misfortune, another one that was falling through the draft and didn't even get targeted, even though it's such a high tier pick in the current state on 10.3. Now we're thinking about a pick for the top side. What could be better than a scaling Pirate that had so much success yesterday with Kana playing that into a kneecapless Akali in the top lane? I actually really do like this last pick. We're seeing more 5th pick gangplanks here in the LCK.
A lot of globals now for Gen.G available as well, with the Dawning Shadow as well as that Cannon Barrage. So Afreeca will be able to play around mid-game relatively effectively, where Olaf gets a couple of items on top of the Zoe throwing bubbles everywhere. Well, let's see how Afreeca Freecs are actually going to be able to navigate it, because Keen on the Akali is going to be a very different effect to what he was able to put forward on the set. He still will be able to split push in the side lane, but if Rascal can get himself a couple of items and get this game moving in the direction of Gen.G, it's going to be very hard for Afreeca to contend, just because the damage potential of a gangplank after those first 3 items do come in is going to be just night and day in comparison to an Akali, even if it is piloted to perfection, much like what Keen is capable of on this pickup.
You take a look at this composition, the Zoe is kind of a singular pick for the player, whereas the composition, they'd love to go all in. Pun certainly intended in this moment. The Cosmic Radiance, the bullet time, you get the Akali in your back line, and Olaf is running straight at you. That's how you want to play it. Whereas on the other side, you have LeBlanc, who is very slippery, can do a kind of 1-3-1 split push with Rascal on the GP. You have a lot of scaling in that pick as well, with the Senna even on the AD carry side. And honestly, I like the draft here from Gen.G a lot more. We'll have to wait and see how it does go here and if they can actually pilot it in this game, as Afreeca have proved to be quite the opponents here tonight.
Yep, and it is once again going to be that farming Tahm Kench towards the bottom side of the map, so Ruler is going to be playing as makeshift support for at least the beginning of this game, trying to get to as many stacks as possible. We saw last time, in fact, the stacks didn't come in quite fast enough, but we'll see what Ruler's going to be able to do now that it is his turn. Alongside Life's Tahm Kench, a pick that Life has certainly put many hours into. Gen.G loved Tahm Kench, and it's still here. Timothy Kenshin's still being played. He's lost his knighthood, no longer Sir Thomas Kench. But Timothy still retaining a whole lot more priority than I think a lot of analysts would prefer.
Well, he can still devour, and he still has nice map presence with his Abyssal Void. So as long as that remains the same, and his kit is that, and his numbers aren't absolute complete trash, I think he will always see a little bit of play here.
Yep.
Unsealed Spellbook for all in.
I didn't see whether Mystic took the pool party skin, but that would have been cool. As our Rascal taking a little bit of damage here, immediately using a first charge of the Corrupting Potion. Now Clid, who's starting on his Raptor camp, is being shadowed by Dread. And now, Dread's just going to run towards the mid lane, finds an undertow, and gets a cleanse instantly as BDD's clone is taken down. Like the micromanagement there, we saw Faker with a masterclass of clone management yesterday. But getting a summoner spell after just walking through the lane is pretty impressive.
Look at this!
Both junglers doing it, as All In does find level 2.
Clid doesn't even have red. He's like, no, I just gotta help out BDD just in case.
Yep.
As he's pushed under the turret. Not sure about that one.
All In missing basically every CS in this lane as well.
We haven't seen that many level 2 ganks, but I don't know if we've ever really seen level 1 ganks happen too often here at the LCK.
Oh wow, Rascal actually finding a really decent barrel there. And trading quite nicely with the Akali. Of course, early levels on the Gangplank can be very strong, especially with the crippled Q spam that Arkeen isn't going to be able to fire forward nearly as much as he otherwise would. It is one of the main things that actually happened to Akali was not being able to just throw out Q after Q after Q. As chains are going to land, 200 health here for All In. Who's taken the unsealed spellbook. So many different summoner spells available for the Zoe.
Minion Dematerializer coming out once again.
Yeah, it's one of those perplexing choices for a lot of our players, but just wanting to be able to control the minion waves a little bit better.
It's probably the only reason you would decide to take it here early game as the Zoe. At like level 3, it's not very fun. But as the game goes along, the Zoe will have a bit more help with her kit once she hits level 6. So for the early game, I do not mind picking up that Dematerializer.
Kayn is just abusing Rascal underneath this turret. All of the Corrupting Potion charges have now been taken, and he's still sitting on the potion for himself, using the regen that is provided by his Doran shield quite effectively, as Dread just misses everything.
What is this?
It's, yeah, we're throwing axes to Narnia over and over again here. For Dread,
what exactly is the point? I mean, I understand coming in here and trying to push the wave. Okay, that has a point, but he's going to be giving a bunch of XP, or taking a bunch of XP away from All In. He doesn't even push BDD out of the lane. And Clid's able to come over there and support his mid laner at the same time, as Rascal is hurting a lot in the top lane, as we just got a little look there. 29-13 currently on the CS charts.
Yep, having now a look towards the bottom side. Devour has to be used there as Ruler gets on out of the way. Jelly in a little bit of trouble. Will have himself the heal to get back there, but Mystic's completely out of mana. We're trading our health bars a lot here on both sides, but with the Piercing Darkness, it looks like Gen.G are able to stabilize based on Jelly being unable to spam his heals. It is barrier and heal in comparison to the heal and exhaust. It's coming through from Gen.G. Means that no teleporting back to this lane or anything like that, as now Rascal will just protect his barrels.
Yeah, really really like the combination of Gangplank and LeBlanc. We saw that yesterday with Faker and Kana on those two champions. You can just be so slippery with the movement speed that Gangplank gets, able to kind of weave in and out with some parlays and not really have to fully commit because he has the CC Destroyer in the oranges that does come out.
Destroy
Yeah,
the
the
CC.
CC Destroyer.
I love that.
And obviously LeBlanc can go
no.
without explanation, as I want an explanation for missing that cannon.
Yeah, I need that one as well.
But yeah, the two of them just run in and out of fights, never have to fully commit, which is
Great
great.
trade here from Kane. Puts up his Shroud very, very late and is able to score himself the 10 gold. Clit is up here towards the top side as Kane uses the second portion of his ultimate just to get back towards the minion wave. Rascal should be okay though. He's just ran out of his corrupting potion charges. As Clit turns up, but the wave's in a great spot for Keen. He's not going to be able to find a way in. A couple of waves in the lead. Is this Akali? Now, BDD's going to turn up and look to try and lock this one down as Cannon Barrage is available. And Gen.G looking for the dive. Keen will be able to Shroud. He goes in, but not going to be able to get anything done there. All too easy as First Blood goes over to BDD, of all people, looking to take control of this game.
Yep, just really easily able to convert on that one as Akali had the flash, but he knew that he was so dead. It looked like even the Shroud was down, and it just did not matter. As they were, she was low enough. The ultimate doesn't get you to safety anymore, but she didn't even have that either. And so, really nothing that Kane could do in that gank. It wasn't communicated fast enough, and the LeBlanc and Jarvan easily able to pick that one up as Afreeca looking to respond with the Infernal Drake.
Yeah, they'll grab that one. Ocean Drake now next cab off the rank, and Mountain or Cloud Soul will be available here today. As Ruler doesn't land the snare, but is doing decently well as All-In misses the bubble. And Portal Jump is going to avoid the chain landing, but could this be a bait as BDD is just looking for the solo kill? And Undertow flies forward, misses once again there from Dread. Cannon Barrage locks down the kill in the meantime, and BDD's just toying with this Olaf. Afreeca not finding the same kind of early game as they did in game number 1 by any stretch of the imagination. This is Gen.G scorned, and they are trashing Afreeca right now.
Yep, making that Olaf look Olafable at this moment in time. As trying to chase LeBlanc is always really funny when you're playing Olaf, especially when your Zoe tries to bait so hard that she just straight up dies to the LeBlanc. And again, it's the combination. It's kind of like they're high-fiving, meanwhile, from the Gangplank and the LeBlanc, able to get people low, and then just throwing down a Cannon Barrage for the Sniper Reno. As now your scaling champion in the top lane is 1-0-1, and your very control-y kind of mid-game burst mage Assassin is also 1-0-1 in the mid lane. Things looking extremely good for Gen.G.
Yeah, and All-In not going to find too many of these bubbles. He's going to have to get his eye in as this game goes on, as once again Dread is in the mid lane. Lands that Undertow though, but he might just get punished for it. Is Ragnarok actually going to be used? He makes his way into the brush. Is now Cataclysm going to be utilized? Dawning Shadow flies forward, and Portal Jump does not work like that, my friend. Now Ragnarok comes in as now Clid should be taken down. Yeah, Dread grabs that kill, misses another Undertow, as he is wont to do in this matchup as BDD gets himself out of the way. There's the make it rain into the bullet time, but Mystic just going to find himself without any mana, and they're not able to kill BDD. But still 1 for 1, so not too bad for Afreeca.
Yeah, I think we're beginning to see the, how can I call it, the greenness from this Zoe player All-In right now, as he's just being toyed around with by BDD and Clid, and is really not having any fun in this lane now. Just misses everything, and BDD is making it look really easy on the 1v1.
Yeah.
This is the original kill, the one where Gangplank snipes it under the turret.
Oh, the giggle. Yeah. Too scary.
I don't know if I would call that a giggle.
Maniacal giggle?
Yeah. Maniacal.
A cackle.
Yes, a cackle is perfect.
Yeah.
It's a real cackle.
Yeah.
As All-In says, hey, LeBlanc's not near me. Maybe I can step up. Oh, wait, it's LeBlanc. And Jarvan, of course, who is able to lock down the Zoe extremely easily when she doesn't have her flash. And just about as easy as a follow-up kill as you'd like. Now BDD is 2-0-1.
Now it's starting to feel like this LeBlanc is actually a counter pick. Because we haven't seen Zoe's, in our recent times, be able to contend with her. But I assure you, it's not as easy as it looks, as BDD is playing pretty masterfully so far in this game. It's good, because I've been honestly of a mind to say that BDD has been our best performing mid laner so far, and with Faker playing so well yesterday, with Chovy being so consistent, and with Showmaker also existing in this league, that is a big call because of the strength of our mid laners. But BDD misses that chain, finds the next one though, as Trouble Bubble is going to land. Portal Jump just read, and Clid puts the Zoe in the dumpster. Dread's down here towards the bottom side though, as Life gets the Devour. Spits Ruler out on the right side, and the Grey Health can be eaten at any point, so no joy for Afreeca bottom side either. And this Olaf is, yeah, the Olafable meme is a pretty easy one.
Yeah, I don't know why you're ganking Senna Tom Kench. Kind of feels like desperation at this point. Of course, Ruler and Life were pushing in the lane and being really obnoxious down there, but you're never really going to get a kill. Gets the one flash out of Tom Kench. That's it. On the gank down there, as even the top lane now is going pretty well for Rascal. He's down on CS, but he's dominating it now after picking up the Hex Drinker. This mid lane has been over after that first kill.
Oh yeah.
There's absolutely nothing that Drake can do to help out here.
Good
Honestly,
night, sweet Olaf.
I don't even know why he's coming near the mid lane. He's just speeding kills to BDD.
Yeah, he doesn't have ult, as that's going to be an easy assist for the Gangplank. All-in might die as well, as BDD just does so much damage. Happy to sit in turret range for a very long time, as Jelly makes his way over and at least deters any further dive onto All-in. Yeah. Now, once again, ulting in onto Rascal. Can he actually complete this kill, though, is the question. The answer might be a yes, as he's looking for another 5-point strike, but the ultimate is not going to register the second time of asking. Keen will have to back away. Clid and Keen together are just clean, which ain't too bad. We'll see who's going to be the clean one, though, in this game. Clid certainly wasn't in game number 1. Keen was. Now it's looking a lot better for the 100% win rate Jarvan. Surprising, because, you know, they first picked the Lee Sin in game 1. Maybe the Jarvan should have been the first pick.
Yeah, I understand how they were scared of giving BDD Zoe when he's 6-0, but if this is the way the game is going to go, just ban the Zoe away. Like, yeah, I understand, yeah, Sun, he used to be a Zoe player, a one-tricker.
Oh, BDD in a little bit of trouble, but the Zoe was there for a second and is now gone. BDD gets himself out of the way. Dread not going to be baited by the clone this time, but yeah, All-In is having probably one of the worst mid lane performances we've seen of any of our LCK players. Yeah, it's just not really working out here, and we might be looking for a fly for game number 3.
Yeah, there's really not much else to say about it. You can say what you want. Yeah, he's a Zoe player. Maybe he would have had a better game on another day, and it makes sense.
We all have ups and downs, you know.
Yeah.
As that's a minion ruler. The Mystic's still taking a hell of a lot of damage. This bottom lane is just not taking damage right here, as Jelly trying to get those heals out, but Mystic's down to 200. He has Barrier still available, can utilize it. Jelly uses the heal first, is continuing to try and fight, but Gen.G doesn't take damage in the bottom lane. They just don't. They're able to have this war of attrition. They're still at full health. The flash forward, the double kill is so easy. What are you supposed to do?
Good trade, guys. That was a quality trade. I'd like to really congratulate you on your good trade down in the bottom lane. Again, why are you trying to trade that hard against Senna Tom Kench? You kind of just have to let them do what they're doing. As Senna, maybe we'll begin to see more and more of her. As I don't know what to say about this. Mystic's like, hey, we can trade back. But the second he gets licked, that's when it all turns around. Because Ruler's got the range advantage, and he's just able to kite them down, and Tom Kench keeps them slowed the whole way. So once he stepped forward that tiny little bit, that was just the end of it. They had to flash earlier. They have to say and identify, we lost the trade at that moment, and back from there. Otherwise, they're both just going to die, as we did just see, because they're going to be slowed forever. They're going to get locked down. Senna's going to root them. The exhaust comes out from Life. There's just no hope, and they had to identify it sooner. So not necessarily helping out Afreeca's chances here for game number 2.
Mystic's dead, guys.
we're just going to go into a game number 3.
Yep. Bidity coming back down towards the bottom side. A couple of autos. That's the bullet time, but Bidity is able to find the distortion cooldown once again. And look, it got a bit closer than you otherwise would have liked. It's still going to be absolutely fine. As Rascal just looking for Keen, who's dancing underneath this turret. Shuriken backflip is going to register as Dread's going to turn up. They want to try and stop this back if they can, but Rascal still has Flash and Cannon Barrage, and this is going to be a more difficult dive than you otherwise would expect. They're still going to try and go for it, though. A rotation up here at the Tahm Kench, who will have Abyssal Voyage to get themselves there. And Life isn't actually going to use it as Undertow does come in. Cannon Barrage is down now as Rascal uses it defensively. I think Gen.G could have possibly navigated that a little bit better to try and bait a dive out of Afreeca. But as you can see, it's still a lead for Keen, but that lead has not extended over the last 5 to 10 minutes.
And they're just going to go for a little bit of a swap-arena here. As Dread is, I mean...
Is it like a 20% hit rate of that of his axes?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, I take it all back.
Yeah. 10 and... not
20
10.
and 2.
20 and 2. Oh, we actually had someone die. I missed that as he died too fast. 20 and 2 on Jarvan, and he's 5 and 0
did Mystic die?
for this season.
Oh, he just died over there. Okay.
Why is there no priority on Jarvan? Why are they not banning it away?
Why did they first pick Lee Sin? Sorry.
Well, that was Gen.G.
Yeah, I know, but why did Gen.G first pick
I don't know.
Lee Sin
Good question.
instead of Jarvan?
Good question.
He's going for 6-0 now, and it's looking like it's already pretty much in the bag as BDD's LeBlanc is a pretty strong champion. He's going to move down here, and look, the bullet time worked out relatively well here for Mystic. But yeah, you're going to have a W backup available, and let's see how Mystic just got completely obliterated. As it may have actually been on screen, but it just it didn't last.
The thing is, it
long.
popped up at the same time as the 20 and 2 stat
Yeah.
for Klid's Jarvan. That I was more impressed by the stat than the play by the LeBlanc. It's like, yeah, I mean, LeBlanc's going to do that now that she's 4-0 and 4.
Well, we've got a 0 and 3 Misfortune and a 0 and 4 Zoe. In fact, it's 1 to 10 in the kill score. We have a 6,000 gold lead at 17.5 minutes. We have a dead outer turret here in the mid lane as All-In gets missed by a chain or two, and Gen.G are super comfortable. Their second Drake coming in here as it will be the Cloud Soul once again on offer here for Gen.G. But more Dawning Shadows, definitely good, and LeBlanc makes use of Cloud Soul better than most champions, in my opinion, because you are so versatile with your ultimate usage, and the cooldown is definitely low. Of course, Cloud Soul has a 30-second cooldown itself, but every second Mimic that you're going to be throwing out, basically second or every third, depending on what your cooldown reduction looks like, is going to be a little bit more potent, and you get that extra movement speed as well as you're distorting around this map. 404, BDD not found, but he has found himself most certainly. It's sort of the opposite effect here.
Yeah.
As far as this game is concerned. Didn't have the greatest game one, but he's warmed up here for game number 2.
Yeah, they realized like, oh wait, we can just pick Jarvan. We can totally outdraft them and totally outplay them. And they were like, oh yeah, we're Gen.G, we can just do that. And they just did it. That's the way it feels in this game. Obviously, it's a bit more complicated than that, but extremely one-sided game so far.
Well, it's 4 people towards the top side here for Gen.G, looking to try and get this dive out onto Keen. He's still very healthy, though, as the Undertows flying forward. A little bit of a misclick as far as where that ward went, but it looks like Shirley is going to be the prize that Gen.G are looking for. And it's always interesting having a look at a support center 80 carry sort of situation, sitting with a gold bounty and almost 40 CS at 20 minutes into the game. Observe that Life is 20 CS ahead of Mystic right now on the Tahm Kench.
Yeah.
He's got a Gargoyle, sorry, not a Gargoyle Stone Plate. He's got a, what is the?
Dead Man's Plate.
Dead Man's Plate, that's the one. I knew it was some sort of plate. Plates have fallen though, so you know, I got plates off my mind right now. Gargoyle Stone Plate will be coming in next, however. And this is going to be a Tahm Kench that's much more tanky than other ones that we've witnessed. Yeah, this is a rough game.
He's like an elite Tahm Kench. He's like an elite catfish that you find in like the
maybe
higher level areas.
It might be seeing Sir Thomas again. That might be what this variety of the Tom Kench
This,
is.
yeah, you know, it's like they're reinstating him to his knighthood.
Yeah.
Terms from Timothy into Sir Thomas Kench.
I mean, he's certainly got an income upgrade, right? Look at all
Yeah,
of this farm that
absolutely.
he's being given.
A lot more responsibility as the big boy of the team. It's him and Jarvan, who Jarvan is 3-1-3, so he's also
I mean,
got
BDD
some
is
extra
also
items.
a pretty big deal.
Is he a tank though?
Well,
He's got
Does
so
he
many
have to
levels
be?
that maybe he can.
Yeah.
So 13, same as Keen actually.
yeah, Keen has just been, you know, trying to cling to his advantage here towards the top side. Has his Gunblade completed, but he has no right to get towards this turret. These minions will survive, so Keen doesn't need to stick around too close, but with 4 members circling the area and Dread just backing, okay. He's going to have to use the ultimate. There's the Flash Cataclysm out from Clit as Keen dives on over with the ultimate available. He will have the second activation as BDD gets very close to going down, but isn't. His wallet keeping him up there, as you could see. Shirley, in the meantime, gets a secondary charge, and they take down the inner turret towards top side as well, and there is nothing Afreeca can do. They are 8,000 gold in the hole, and at 21 minutes, it looks like Gen.G are considering a barrier.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing it can do, and not much that I can say about this play. I mean, this is just, I don't know. Like, why are you backing there when they're about to push into you? It just describes the entirety of the game.
Yeah.
With Keen desperately, oh so desperately, trying to carry by himself 1v4.
And we were trying to give
Sad.
benefit of the doubt to Keen Zakali, and you see why they picked it. It's a confidence pick for Keen. He's able to lane very well, but I mean, as far as this composition, moving into a mid to late game with any sort of cohesion, I don't understand what they're trying to achieve. It's a dive comp that's well and truly too far behind, so if they try and dive Gen.G, Gen.G has so much maneuverability, so much control, they have a Devour for goodness sake. Like, they just out-comped Afreeca to such a high level, right? Even based on what Afreeca had, Gen.G observed it, didn't even have to really, because the Tahm Kench was picked so early. Afreeca just pick themselves into the Tahm Kench so awfully. But there's just not a lot of options here for this team.
Yeah, absolutely, and I would be extremely surprised if we did not see Fly in Spirit for game number 3.
Oh yeah.
If that does not happen, then you have to wonder what's going on. Like, maybe they're sick. I don't think there's any other reason why you wouldn't put them into the lineup after a performance like this out of All In and Dread, which has been pretty dreadful. So,
Yeah.
don't want to say too much. The game is kind of over, and it's always going to feel bad when you're this far behind. Not much that they can do now, as BDD casts 2 spells. Keen
has
nearly
half
dies.
health. Yeah. It's definitely a worry. Well, let's see how cleanly Gen.G can actually finish this game off, as they have Soul Point now for themselves 5 minutes before that Dragon Soul is going to be available. And they just brute force this inner turret. All in, trying to tidy up top lane, as Dread has no right to be in his own jungle at this stage of the game. Life is still farming, by the way. Ruler is just straight up a support this game. It's super cool. As All In gonna get slowed down, lands a trouble bubble at point blank range, as now we do have a flank coming in. Ruler might be in trouble, but finally we see this combination out of Afreeca, but Mystic just gets obliterated. Good night, Sweet Prince. BDD finds himself in amongst everyone, but he has a distortion back up again. Dawning Shadow just to keep everyone alive. And this is the last-ditch effort. This is the last fight for the Afreeca Freecs, and they are not going to win it. Their solo laners are still alive, but for how much longer is going to be the question. As with Baron buff, Gen.G are going to say goodnight. Trouble Bubble lands here onto Clid, but Clid's just stopping backs right now. And it's only Keen that's there to defend. The base is obliterated. We talk about base being broken. This base is destroyed, as that Trouble Bubble answer from Clid was very, very nice. Now Keen gets exhausted. He's now looking to try and take down at least BDD, but he's not going to be able to just yet. Escapes for the moment, as Ruler takes a lot of damage. Oh no, turret aggro, that's going to do it. Mystic locks down that kill, and okay, bit of yakety sacks here for the end of the game, and now we've got the flanking teleport to come forward from Keen. He wants BDD so desperately. Mystic grabbing his second kill. Shuriken backflip there for Keen. Does register, but the base has been destroyed, and Gen.G have a 12,000 gold lead. So, look, I wouldn't start calling a comeback just yet.
Yeah, they got a little bit too frisky with the all-in attempt here, I suppose you can call it. Nice try by Afreeca. When you're this far behind, you just got to do desperate plays. They call for desperate measures, and Ruler somehow is going to survive here in the back. He's just got so much healing and sustainability. Saves the Dawning Shadow for right at the end, gets that big shield, and
also gets to use it on the rest of his team at the same time. I mean, I think that Dawning Shadow was the absolute optimal use of it. But this was the whoops. This is where Ruler says goodbye to any chance of player of the game. Not that he was going to take it from B2D in any way, shape, or form anyway. But still, wandering into a turret after getting double up like that is a bad news bear scenario. As the rest of these players will survive, Rascal not included. And Keen can't get on to B2D here, who retains his 6-0 and 6 scoreline. And is looking to do what he can for LeBlanc's win rate here in the LCK, going for number 8 right now. I want to see the just LeBlanc KDA. The LeBlanc KDA must be gigantic as well.
Yeah.
We haven't seen too many LeBlancs have bad games.
It's true. They're just going for it here.
Yep, we've got Abyssal Voyage right into the team. Cataclysm in point-blank range onto Dread, but there's the Cosmic Radiance, and Life has to... Oh my god, he's so damn tanky! As the Jarvan does fall down, but both junglers are going to be taken out of this fight. Keen goes golden in the Shroud as well, as Jelly's surviving for a decent amount of time, but the wallets are heavy here for Gen.G, and they'll destroy the last remaining inhibitor, the Nexus turrets, and take us to a game 3.
Yeah, that's going to be all she wrote, as Mystic and All In will attempt to do what they can here, but All In is just, he's having PTSD from that laning phase. He's trying to get away from that block.
Mystic's surviving for a really long time. BDD over to the side. Using his clone relatively well, as now Life and BDD are the ones in here trying to get this one working, but Mystic putting up a pretty solid defense right here, and Gen.G can't finish. Afreeca are holding on, man.
Get him, minions!
I feel like this is it's a Lion King scenario, though, you know, like, I don't know about whether or not Scar is just going to throw them off this cliff.
Yeah, I think Mystic's asking, can we attack our own Nexus? Does that work? As the Abyssal Voyage comes in with a Jarvan, an aggressive Abyssal Voyage, which you don't really see unless you're winning by 15,000 gold. As Jarvan did eat the brunt of the MF damage, Mystic survives for the entirety of this fight. He's able to lifesteal in the back here, while Keen and Jelly are trying to do that thing. You know, they get the Senna out in the back, so the assassination attempt actually does work out. But then Mystic here, you can see that they're able to stay alive for long enough underneath the turrets with the Hex Drinker.
I don't know how Rascal wasn't able to kill Mystic. That was very, very odd. Maybe hitting some minions there by accident. But now Gen.G are going to go back to their second Baron after picking up the Cloud Soul as well. 7-0-8 here for BDD, who's able to pad those stats after some unfortunate teamfight game-ending attempts from Gen.G. I have a feeling that that's going to stop here and now, as Afreeca are relegated to sitting into their base and trying to defend. But there's going to be double super creeps coming from every single lane. And look, when it comes to PvE, that's going to be what Afreeca has to deal with. And Gen.G just need to move forward and love tap the Nexus, because there are no turrets left to take in this game. Keen immediately gets out the Shroud, but he's snared up, and now the fight is starting in earnest. BDD going down very, very low as Dread is hunting for him, but he creates the distance that he's looking for. That's the Devour onto Rascal, keeps himself alive. Dawning Shadow coming over the top of Afreeca, and their health bars are so damn low. BDD unable to lock down the kill onto Mystic, and now he's still running around trying to stay alive. The shutdown finally coming through, but I have a feeling that's not going to be enough, as Life, Ruler, and Clid will be able to take down this Nexus, and Gen.G bring us to a game number 3.
Yeah, it is going to a game number 3 after that monstrous performance out of Clid and BDD. The two of them just able to shut down mid lane.
Isn't it cool? Isn't it cool when Clid picks a champion that he's extraordinarily good at and fits the composition? Isn't it amazing? Yes, his Lee Sin's very good, but damn, that Jarvan worked out so well for Gen.G in this game.
That's
And,
why we were questioning the
LeBlanc's
Lee
pretty
Sin
good.
first pick in game number 1 when you have a Jarvan that is 5-0, when you're obviously popping off on that pick. Why pick anything else?
Yeah.
Seemed like they had a different idea in mind, and that's going to be BDD's first win on the LeBlanc, but it's LeBlanc's 8th win without a loss in 2020 here in the LCK. And in the beginning when it was 4-0, we're like, okay, great players are picking up this pick. But now it's doubled that. And at what point is LeBlanc actually going to lose a game? Are we going to go 10 wins, 15, 20?
I mean, is Afreeca going to pick it in game number 3? Ruins the KDA?
And then lose?
No. Who knows?
They could win.
Or maybe they will. It just looks like Gen.G have pulled themselves together. I don't know what was said backstage before game number 2, but it must have been with a delivery of some of Michael's secret stuff, if you understand the Space Jam reference. Just shy of 30 minutes it took Gen.G to win this one. Honestly, they were playing with their food for a little while. As 24,000 damage in comparison to 10. That was a shellacking in the mid lane. BDD abusing All In. I have a feeling we're going to see Fly, not because they want to sub him in, but because All In doesn't want to face that lane again.
Yeah. I think we all want him out after that one. Sorry, All In. You're a good player, but that was just not your day. That was not your game. You got to give Fly a chance, and I think Spirit as well. Put him in there. Put the veterans in and see what they can do, because both Dread and All In were not able to come up to the task there in game 2.
Nope, but we have a short break, and then we'll be back for game number 3.
딜라인 봐봐, 딜라인 봐봐.
가겠다.
먹기만 게. 오케이, 빼면서 천천히. 앞에부터. 아칼리 녹음.
거기다 나 아니고 앞으로 하죠.
보자.
아칼리
펜스 봐줘. 아칼리 볼게. 아칼리 볼게.
나 풀이 있죠.
네, 미포.
이거 솔로 해놨어. 이거 있어.
오케이, 끝났다.
사와.
다 죽이던지.
아칼리 조이.
아 중간에 이상하게 했네.
나이스 잘 따라 너.
정신 차리고 하자.
아
나도 못했어.